is going on? Grinders. It's Chief. We're in the building. It's also TJ Zwarych. This is the NFL Showdown pre-lock show coming at you on a Sunday night as we head into the dog days of NFL season. Boy, it has it gone by quick. We want to thank you guys for joining us each and every week, inviting us into your homes, your stereos, your cars, your Walkmans. I'm dating myself, but we just appreciate you guys. And thanks for all the support. TJ, got a hot one tonight. But before we get into that, how's your day going? How's your DFS day? How's your day in real life? And how's your kid's first Christmas?
You know, my kid's first Christmas was really, really good. It was busy. We had years, like every day we had like at least 2 different houses we were going to and doing lots of visits. So she was a little overstimulated at times, but overall it went really, really well. Say Dean in chat saying, QQ, has TJ ever used a Walkman? Yes, I have. I have used the Walkman. It was, I'd say, probably like Discman, more aligned with my childhood, but I had 2 older sisters who are 8 and 10 years older than me, so definitely was using a Walkman on some road trips when I was younger. And then in terms of DFS today, it went fine. I basically broke even. I think I might have lost like $5-10 overall, but pretty much broke even. Chris Olave carried me through. I know Chase Brown carried me through some good stuff. So 2 nice calls at the beginning of the Crunch Time show. I feel like I had all the guys who had big days, just not really built together in the right lineups, but breaking even is totally fine. My best ball final team, it's not going to be winning $1 million or anything like that. You know, I got Rashee Rice, who's not going to play, Devontae Adams, who's not going to play, Jalen Waddle got hurt in the first quarter, and I don't have Derrick Henry. But I did have some Breece Hall and Chris Olave on it, so decent run in the early stuff. Basically everything I have is in the Monday Night Football game. I have just a ton of Falcons and a ton of Rams. So chance to do something a little decent there, maybe. And as my guy, I am Steve OJ in chat saying the Saints might have their guy at QB. Only the 3rd rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era to pass for back-to-back games of at least 300 yards with no interceptions, alongside Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott for Tyler Shuck. So I was wrong at the beginning of the year, but boy, has my guy Tyler Shuck impressed me, because I kind of believe it. I think the Saints might have found their franchise guy.
Well, we will find out. We'll see if Carolina's found their guy. Everybody keeps telling me, "Oh man, Carolina's good this year." I'm like, guys, stop it. I don't trust this team. Obviously the Seattle Seahawks are a good team. That's not what I'm talking about. But hey man, listen, you got to prove it to me a few seasons. Give me some consistency, right? Don't just build me up and break my heart. And I feel like that's what the Carolina Panthers are about to do this season. Don't trust them at all just yet. All right, TJ, we're going to hop in this thing. We got a really good game tonight. Bears, 49ers, 2 quarterbacks that can move the ball quite a little bit. 2 teams that have wide receiver rooms that are a bit down because of some injuries. So it's very interesting to me. Big man on campus tonight looks like Christian McCaffrey in terms of the must play or the biggest spend, if you will, TJ. Let's talk about captain and MVP together. McCaffrey seems to be the creme de la creme. What say ye?
Yeah, obviously in kind of cash optimal settings, McCaffrey is certainly the guy we are going with. And in tournaments, genuinely, if you want to get different, you can pretty much just play anybody else. He's projecting for over 30% ownership at the captain position on DraftKings. If we flop it over to FanDuel here, it's still almost a 40% optimal rate, 40% ownership percentage we're looking at. And so Christian McCaffrey is definitely the guy in a cash optimal setting as the MVP / captain today. I don't think I want to go there in tournaments. Like in large field GPPs from a FanDuel perspective, I'm totally fine going to a Purdy or a Caleb Williams. Yep, and then on DraftKings, I do actually think we can go the cheaper route and go with one of these cheaper captains today so that we can load up on the McCaffreys, the Purdys, the Williamses, get them all in one lineup And I do think there's are a fair amount of cheap options that look pretty good today, with one in particular I'm high on.
TJ, are you talking about picking Luther Burden, Spicy, or maybe somebody like Ricky Pearsall? Like, who are we picking today, TJ? Who's bringing the spice?
So Burden is definitely in consideration for me on DraftKings. He's somebody that I really, really like going to at the captain position, projecting for about 5% ownership there. But without Roma Dunze, DJ Moore's been dealing with an illness all day. Olamide Zacchaeus is out for this one. He's still dealing with an illness as well. And so I do think Burden should be very heavily involved with the passing offense. I like him a lot as a captain. He's not the one that I'm currently going to in my main lineup. And I'm currently only running a one lineup, but I got to admit I'm a little thrown off by our projections because I don't understand why we have Luke Farrell projecting for more fantasy points than Jake Tonjes. But that guy's Jake Tonjes for me. No George Kittle, and he's 3K. So it's a super cheap tight end one who we saw fill in very admirably for George Kittle the last time Kittle was out. And so Jake Tonjes at the captain position for me is going to be my number one guy in my lineup. And then that allows me to play McCaffrey, Burden, Caleb Williams, and Brock Purdy together.
Yeah, I like it. I like that call, TJ. Definitely think that's a great option. Tongas, I mean, is very cheap. And, you're talking about being able to pretty much play whoever you want. I mean, TJ, 4,500 in the captain spot. Wow. You're talking about being able to load up. I like that. I like that quite a bit. Hey, let's drop in the chat. Who are you guys picking for your spicy captain? Let's get some interaction going tonight, TJ. Chat, drop in the YouTube chat. Who do you guys want to pick? And while you're picking, let's talk about Pixl Labs. Pixl Labs is the newest feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you from edges and win rates to value. It's a clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sportsbooks and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. And when you see something you like, Pixl Labs builds the slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. Right now, you can try Pixl Labs completely free on RotoGrinders.com through December 28th. That is today. Just visit RotoGrinders.com/Pixl Labs. Try it once, and you'll be wondering how this wasn't a thing already. I don't see any picks dropping in the chat. I'm very disappointed. TJ, we're moving over to the flex position. A lot of options here, as we talked about with some of the captains. I'm obviously a lot of these guys we will be playing in the flex. If you're talking about playing cheap captains, TJ, obviously it feels like Christian McCaffrey is going to be a lock in the flex.
Yeah, I'm definitely not looking to fade outright Christian McCaffrey. I do like the idea of fading him at the captain/MVP spot tonight, but I'm not trying to fade him in the flex, fade him entirely. So I am going to be playing McCaffrey there. I do want to prioritize the two quarterbacks and McCaffrey at the flex position today. I'm fairly easily able to do that when I'm playing a cheap captain, and like I look at it and I'm going to go Burden at captain with McCaffrey, Purdy, Caleb, or I'm going to go Tonjes captain with McCaffrey, Burden, and Caleb. And so that's kind of my core that I'm looking to build around today. In terms of other spend ups, I do really like DJ Moore as an option that probably will be a little bit lower owned than he should be because he's been sick all day. And then otherwise at the top stuff, like if I were playing more lineups, I would definitely be getting to more DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. But just in the one I'm currently rolling out there, I might do a second as we get a little bit closer because I kind of do want to do a Burden captain lineup. But Monangai and Swift would be two guys that I'd be getting to if I were playing a few more lineups. I don't have them right now. I'm lighter on Pearsall and Jennings. And if I were to play one of them more aggressively, it would be Jennings. But those two 49ers receivers up top are the two guys that I'm going to be lower on today.
Okay. I like it. I personally am going to have Chris McCaffrey everything. Obviously, right behind him, Brock Purdy and Caleb Williams. And then TJ, I'm just kind of mixing and matching these receivers. I'm with you, TJ, on DraftKings tonight. I think the way to go is to go a little bit cheaper in the captain spot. And so I think that's really going to help me to really blast off tonight in Showdown. So hopefully, folks, you guys are, hopefully, if you follow our lead, we're right. And we see at the top of the leaderboards at the end of the night. TJ, I'm really loving it. In terms of between the two quarterbacks, who's your favorite?
That's tough. I do really like both of them, but I guess I'm going to go Caleb Williams if I'm picking one of them. I do really like the idea of jamming both of them in together, but if I'm only going one, I think Caleb is the guy.
Okay. Totally get it. All right, today let's move to running back outside of McCaffrey. He's in a class of his own. Kind of doesn't count for running backs, right? Like, he's his own person tonight. When we get to these other guys like Swift and Monangai, between those two, who do you like more?
Straight up, I like DeAndre Swift a little bit better, especially on DraftKings where you get the point per reception. And on DraftKings, there's not that big of a price difference between them. And so Swift is kind of the clear number one there for me. I am still on board with Monangai if you land on him as a last piece in your lineup or you're playing a double running back or you're adding in the Bears defense, something like that. I think that is totally viable. But if choosing one of them, Swift would be my preference, especially on DraftKings where you get that point per reception. On FanDuel, the pricing difference is still the same, but Monangai is coming in pretty low owned and there isn't the point per reception. Touchdowns are worth a little bit more. So if I am playing Monangai, I think I would rather it be on FanDuel than DraftKings.
Okay. Totally get it. TJ, moving right along. Brian Robinson Jr., will you have any shares of him tonight as kind of a fringe play?
No B-Rob for me. Just doesn't feel necessary on this slate with enough other cheap options with Kittle being out. And then with Dunze and Zacchaeus being out as well. There's enough other stuff open that I don't think I need to go to B-Rob. If I'm wrong and he goes crazy, I will be happy because he's on my best ball DK final team, but not somebody that I'm trying to get to today.
Okay, sounds good. Moving to wide receiver, TJ, where there's a wealth of riches, I feel like at wide receiver tonight, because of all the injuries and the weird situations, like having Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, and none of them being overly expensive, TJ. I feel like it's really opened it up for us tonight. So let's start there. Like, obviously, Jawan Jennings is 8,600, Ricky Pearsall 7,600, DJ Moore 84, and then you got Burden very cheap. What are your thoughts at the wide receiver position? Obviously, I know we're talking about possibly doing some sort of a team jam them in tonight, TJ, and kind of getting all of these big pieces where we feel like the production is going to come from. What are your thoughts in terms of your main guy at wide receiver and then kind of fanning out from there?
Yeah, Burden is certainly my number one target. No Zacchaeus, no Burden. No. Why do I always forget Dunze's name? I really think Burden is in line for a really nice day today. And so he's my number one choice. I think I probably would put DJ Moore too, but in basically a 2A, 2B situation with Jawan Jennings. They're with Ricky Pearsall fairly heavily behind them. So it's Burden 1, 2A, 2B, Jennings, and Moore with a distant 3 to Ricky Pearsall. But Burden is certainly going to be my number one target. I'm not getting to personally DJ Moore or Jawan Jennings in my one lineup, but I have no issues with that whatsoever. And then Pearsall's the one of the big ones that I basically have no interest in.
Interesting. I actually thought you might have a bit more interest. Why no interest in Pearsall tonight? Talk me through that, TJ. That's an interesting perspective. I didn't expect that.
The only time Pearsall has had a good game this season is with Jawan Jennings out. He has not had any type of performance we've needed from a fantasy perspective unless Jawan Jennings has been out. Last game, he kind of had like what for him seems to be pretty close to a ceiling performance at 15.6, but I just don't really see all that many situations where we need Pixl.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. TJ, moving right along. In terms of my favorite receivers, obviously I like Jawan Jennings. I just like Burden because I think he's going to have to get some level of volume tonight. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah,
like, he's too cheap, I feel like, across the board for it to just kind of be two main guys. Now, Ja'Day Walker, I know is I think a name that may have floated out there. Like, if you decide you want to do that, like as a flyer, okay, you know what I mean, TJ. Like,
totally viable punt.
Right. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying like that's a true flyer in my book. If that makes it a true flyer, TJ. So there you have it. Moving right along, TJ, we're going to tight end. Obviously, that's a spot that we've already talked about. Tongas. Obviously, we know that the Bears have Loveland, Komet, two guys that can both catch some passes. Loveland, I almost feel like Loveland might get left out in the cold today, TJ. What I mean by that is obviously his ownership, I think projected we have him somewhere in the 30s, but I'm saying compared to what I feel like is usual tight end stuff, like he's the main tight end here with a wide receiver room that's down a bit. I don't know if I feel like his ownership isn't high enough. What are your thoughts on Loveland?
Yeah, both Loveland and Komet, I think, are very viable today. Loveland looks like pretty great in this spot, definitely in the cash game conversation if you're playing that route. I am kind of comparing him to the kickers, and if I have enough money to get up to Eddie Pinheiro, I think I like him a little bit better than Colston Loveland, but I would rank them Pinheiro 1, Loveland 2, and then the Bears kicker 3rd of that group. If I'm in the 5K range, I have and then Santos 3rd. If I'm in that range, I certainly have no problem going to Loveland whatsoever. I've been finding myself kind of needing to go up to Burden Manungai range or down to Jake Tonjes, Cole Komet range often in some of the builds I've been looking at. But Colson Loveland looks really good in this spot. I'm with you.
Yep. Like Loveland, definitely think he's a guy that could have a big night. Man, I've got an interesting build here, TJ. I'm going to go ahead and save it just in case. I'm just playing one lineup tonight for Showdown, but I got an interesting build that could work. I don't think I'm going to land there completely, but it could work. Anyway, I'll come back and kind of talk through that. So we've got Loveland. Obviously, we know that you like Tongas. You were mentioning, obviously, that Farrell had a slightly higher projection than Tongas. What are your thoughts on Farrell? He's 1.6K, pretty much half of the Tongas salary. Even though I know you like Tongas more, what are your thoughts on Farrell?
Yeah, I think for his price, Farrell is a viable punt, but I'm genuinely confused by the numbers on this one. Like if you switch to the blitz projection too, Tonjes is projected for about 9 points, whereas Farrell is like at about 2. And so I was really surprised to see Farrell projected over 5 in our projections with Tonjes in the 3 range. So totally viable as a salary saver. I like Tonjes better if I can get up to him. And then in that Farrell range, I think I would rather go down to a Devin Duvernay or up to a Ja'Day Walker or even Cole Komet if I can afford it, if possible. Farrell is fine, but there are other cheapies that I'm totally comfortable punting with as well. Duvernay, Walker, Komet.
Okay. Sounds good. I totally get it. TJ, kicker, one of my favorite positions. We got to pay for kickers tonight, TJ. Nobody's under 5K. We're not getting 4,600, 4,500, 4,400, 4,700, 4,800. We're not getting it tonight. Both kickers, TJ, above 5K. One's 5,200. That is Santos, and Eddie Pinheiro is 5,400. Obviously, these are two teams that will kick the ball, as we've seen from Eddie Pinheiro. He's had several, TJ, and I mean several double-digit games this season. In fact, I think he's had more double-digit games from a fantasy perspective than single-digit games. 10, 12, so 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's had 9, TJ, 9 double-digit fantasy point games. And that's excluding week 1. This is a guy that they trust to put the ball through the uprights, and they will give him his opportunities, which is why we've seen a lot of these double-digit performances. I'm assuming, once again, you're probably with me. You like Pinheiro more than Santos, but I do like them both. Not to be outdone, Santos has had his fair share of double-digit games as well, TJ, just not as many. How are you feeling about kicker?
Definitely with you with Eddie Pinheiro. I'm a big fan of him tonight. I think he is great value for his salary. Santos is fine too. It's just I like Pinheiro better, and I like Loveland better a little bit below him. And so if I were running out more lineups, I would certainly have some double kicker ones. But if I was choosing between the two of them, or I just needed a last piece, I probably land on Pinheiro or Loveland over Santos, but still totally viable. And then I'm with you on Pinheiro. I think he's great in this spot.
Yeah.
I will say on FanDuel, I'm a little bit less interested in the kickers where they're both priced above Luther Burden. And I'm picking Luther Burden over both of them every time. You got Colton Loveland and Jake Tonjes significantly cheaper. And so I'm not as fond of them on FanDuel as I am on DraftKings.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, TJ, last but not least, my least favorite position of Showdown in the history of Showdown, and that is defenses. What are we doing?
Not really getting to much of either defense today. They're kind of in a bit of a dead zone for on DraftKings if you can't get up to Cole Kmet and you don't want to be leaving a bunch of salary on the table. But on either site, I don't plan on getting to much of the defenses today.
Okay, sounds good, TJ. I don't mind that at all. Guess what, my friend? It's time for questions. Well, I guess let's talk a little bit of FanDuel specifically. I feel like it's similar tonight. But yeah, TJ, FanDuel, obviously, I feel pretty similarly tonight because of the salary distribution. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no real differences other than Purdy and Williams are not quite as low owned over there in the MVP spot. I still think they're the better option in large field stuff than Christian McCaffrey, who's projecting for 40+% ownership over there. But I also think you can go Luther Burden as your MVP on FanDuel because he's so damn cheap.
Yeah. And that's kind of so on FanDuel, TJ, it's really interesting once you put Burden in there because now like it opens up almost everything. Like almost everything. You can do almost whatever you want. Like legitimately. Like definitely both quarter. I will say this. You could fade McCaffrey on FanDuel if you so chose, and you could literally do anything. Like, and I know that sounds crazy. I don't think it's the right call because McCaffrey has so much upside. But on FanDuel, TJ, I'm more likely to fade McCaffrey than DraftKings. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We're going to hop into questions. Folks, I am going to the live stream chat first.
We got to give our plums play, our slate breaker as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping, TJ, that our good friend, Carolina guy, has hopped in there. He has not. But Alexander Dadon has hopped in there. DeAndre Swift or Jawan Jennings, season-long PPR championship. Gotta be Jawan Jennings. Gotta be.
Yeah, I don't mind both of them, but Jennings definitely if choosing one.
This is coming from Yagner's Army. He says, can you fade McCaffrey playing the passing side or San Francisco? The problem with that is, once again, I'm more likely to do it on FanDuel for what it's worth. The problem with that is McCaffrey is so much involved in the passing game also. Like, fading him for the passing game is basically losing his production from the passing game. Like, it's highly likely he could have 5 catches for 50 yards in this game. You know what, or something like that.
If I'm doing that, I probably am playing either Jennings at the MVP or I'm doing Purdy at the captain / MVP, and then I'm making sure I have Jennings, Pearsall, and Tonjes in that lineup.
Yeah. I don't mind that at all. And that's everything we have in the live stream chat, TJ. I'm going to hop back to the YouTube chat. And let's see here. Jenny's MVP from Stack 6165. I'm not sure if that was a question, but I don't mind Jenny's in the MVP if you think, he's going to rack them up and score a touchdown today. Purdy McCaffrey. I'm not sure if that's a question either, TJ. Let's just go with the question from the same person, which is Stack 6165, and said, would you play Smythe?
No, I don't have any Durham Smythe on my radar tonight.
All right, this is coming from Keith Roberts Drums. Season long, half PPR, Swift or more with Caleb at QB. I'm up 16 points and facing CMC and Burden. Probably got to be DJ Moore for me still. I think DJ Moore has more upside.
I think I go DeAndre Swift just because Moore's been dealing with that illness. We don't necessarily know how involved he's going to end up being. He could be full go, but potential downside there. I think I'd go Swift. Swift projects for slightly more fantasy points in our projections as well.
Okay. Is it okay to play Purdy at MVP cash on FanDuel with no Tongas and Burden?
No, cash has to be McCaffrey.
Okay. Let's see. I don't have any more questions in the YouTube chat, TJ. Looks like Yaz's Army is typing something in the live stream chat. And so if he hasn't typed anything while that's happening, TJ.
There's a question further up in YouTube of like who's going to get more snaps, Burden or Duvernay. It's definitely Burden. Burden's going to be their wide receiver one. Duvernay might get some snap. Like Duvernay will probably rotate with Jade Walker. So definitely Luther Burden of that group. Santos or Pinheiro was a question some higher up. We both like Pinheiro in that instance by a pretty significant margin, I think. And then new one just popped up. FanDuel favorite contrarian flex.
Man, I don't. Is it Tongas? It might be Tongas.
It's
probably Walker.
I know other
probably
places
Walker.
have
I think it's
a lot higher than we do.
I think it's Jade Walker. I think Walker is the contrarian guy.
If Tongas is actually going to be 10% owned, it's absolutely him. I just think I know a lot of sites have him projected a lot higher than we do, and so I don't think that's necessarily the ownership he's going to have. But if that's the case, it's certainly him. If not, my second one would be I guess Jawan Jennings, because he's pretty low owned over there.
Yeah. Jawan may do his thing tonight, man. Jawan very well may do his thing tonight. Okay, TJ. We're starting to get more questions. How about that? Thanks, guys. More questions. What's your guys would like you guys' thoughts on Jade Walker with Moore sick? Is the kids out? Yeah, I think we like Jade Walker. He's cheap enough for a flyer. Absolutely. Let me see. In cash, both quarterbacks or one. In cash, I might actually go both. Who are you playing for King of the End Zone on DK Sportsbook? I don't have the DK Sportsbook, so I don't have anyone. For a sneaky play, use check.
Yeah, in regarding the King of the End Zone, I'm not playing it either because I don't have anyone, but just I don't have that sportsbook. But knowing you're trying to get the longest touchdown and you're trying to get somebody who is pretty low owned, I'd maybe go somebody like a Brian Robinson Jr. and just hope he breaks a long one. Because I don't think a ton of people would have him in that spot. And then is Juszczyk a sneaky play? Yeah, he's going to be pretty low owned, but I don't really think he's somebody I want to get to. Just not, you know he's going to get a couple touches, but he's not somebody who has a very big ceiling.
Yeah. Excuse me, TJ. Okay, is it five fading Caleb in FanDuel cash? I don't think I'd do it. Not for me, Diego Torres. IFC1 just says he took Bears D for King of the TD. Okay.
That works.
Okay. Sounds good. Yaz's Army, Komet as last piece playing both Bears running backs. I don't think I want to play both Bears running backs. I don't hate Komet if he's your last piece.
I will say, and regarding these FanDuel cash questions, there is a very clear and obvious FanDuel cash team to me. We mentioned about, I won't give out the exact lineup, but we mentioned you have to play Christian McCaffrey at the MVP position. You should play both quarterbacks. And our two favorite value plays are Luther Burden and Jake Tonjes. And that leaves you one spot remaining. And there is one guy who projects in that range a lot better than everybody else. So very, very clear FanDuel cash lineup today. You should be playing McCaffrey MVP. You should be playing both quarterbacks.
And then DK GPP, this is coming from Keith Roberts Drums, which will probably be our last question, TJ, I think. We got to give our feeling the plums. I didn't forget. DK GPP, Pinheiro captain lineup. Who's a sneaky flex option to get off shared lineups? I think by having Pinheiro captain, that's going to be sneaky enough. I don't see a whole lot of Pinheiro captain tonight, TJ, for what it's worth.
Yeah, especially like most people, I think when they do a kicker captain lineup, they are using all of their salary. Still, if you're using Pinheiro and you're just leaving a little bit on the table, that should be more than different enough. But I would say maybe look at guys like a Loveland, a Burden, and a Tonjes in that lineup. Leave the salary on the table and hope they're outscoring guys like Pearsall and Swift and Monangai in that mid-range.
Yep. Don't hate that one bit. TJ, I am kind of stuck here in terms of my build, man. I had something that I like. I see something else I think that I might like better. We're going to find out. But, TJ, I think that is it. I don't see any more questions. Feeling the plums, TJ. Give it to me. We want the spice. Who do you got?
It's got to be Jake Tonjes. I'm running him as my captain in my main lineup today. It was a close second for Luther Burden because I'm very high on him also. But Jake Tonjes is my field in the pumps play of the day today. He's way too cheap, and I'm going to be loading up on him.
Okay, and my field in the plums play, TJ, is none other than the clear and obvious Luther Burden. Sorry, folks, to disappoint. He's not the highest on player on the slate, but I do like Burden quite a bit today. Ruthless Villain says playing one lineup is torture. Will not when you're in single entry and you hit the nuts. Once again, folks, this is Will. That's TJ, Chief, TJ's Works 5. This has been the Showdown Pre-Lock Show. We love you guys. We appreciate you. And I think, TJ, we got one more in us. We will see you back here next week.